So honestly, this is it, right? 100 points plus. It's bad, or this bad, or that inconsistent. The team has really showed that they never.
Abu Dhabi. Final lap. The checkered flag falls. Max Verstappen crosses the line first and loses the championship. 4 consecutive titles. 71 race wins. A decade of dominance reduced to a 2-point gap that felt like a canyon. But here's what nobody's talking about. 2025 wasn't the year Max Verstappen failed. It was the year he proved he's no longer just fast, he's untouchable, even when he's losing. Because when a champion wins 6 of the final 9 races, closes a 104-point deficit, and still falls short, that's not a story about defeat. That's a story about what happens when greatness meets a car that simply won't let him win. Let's rewind to where this nightmare began. The Dutch Grand Prix, 2025. Max Verstappen was trailing Oscar Piastri by 104 points. Most would have surrendered. Most would have started thinking about next year. Not Max. Because while the world watched Lando Norris chase glory in a rocket ship McLaren, Max was fighting something far more dangerous than his rivals. He was fighting his own car. The Red Bull RB21 wasn't just slow. It was unpredictable. Balance issues plagued every session. The operating window was so narrow that Helmut Marko admitted after Austria they simply couldn't match McLaren anymore. For the first time in years, Max Verstappen lacked superior equipment. But that's when things got interesting. During his 10-race winless streak, the longest drought of his championship era, Max didn't collapse. He delivered exceptional qualifying laps. Determined Sunday drives. 4 podiums. Never finishing outside the top 6. Then Brazil happened. Not Brazil 2016, where an 18-year-old shocked the world in the wet. This was Brazil 2024, and in treacherous conditions, Max delivered what's already being called one of the greatest wet weather performances ever. That drive became the spark. From that moment in Brazil, something shifted. Max won 6 of the final 9 races. 6. He closed a 102-point gap in 9 weekends, one of the most dramatic championship swings in Formula One history. He achieved the most pole positions of the season, 8. Despite driving a car his rivals wouldn't even want in practice. The numbers started backing up what everyone was whispering: this wasn't just a good season. This might be Max's greatest season. But here's the twist nobody saw coming.
How proud are you of your season and of the team this year?
Just don't know why it's bad, or this bad, or that inconsistent.
Post-season, Max reflected, "I have no regrets about my season. I've hated this car at times, but I've also loved it at times. I always tried to extract the most from it." He lost the championship by 2 points and called it his strongest season ever. That statement should sound insane. Except when you look at what he was actually racing against, it's difficult to dispute. Because here's the truth that's reshaping how we measure greatness in Formula One. Max Verstappen became the first driver in 41 years to win a championship with a team that finished 3rd in the constructors' standings back in 2024. Think about what that means. His team wasn't building the fastest car. They were building the 3rd fastest car, and Max was still winning titles. Former F1 driver Giancarlo Fisichella noted that Max possesses an obsessive mechanical study of racing that even Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher, and Lewis Hamilton lacked. Dutch legend Jan Lammers highlighted how Max revolutionized racing lines at Suzuka's hairpin, transforming it from a traditional V-shaped corner to a U-shaped apex, inspiring an entire generation. Ricardo Patrese placed him in the elite Super League with Senna and Schumacher, drivers who excel even without the best car. And Jenson Button? A world champion himself? In 2019, he declared Max might be the fastest driver ever in F1. At just 27 years old, Max Verstappen has 4 world championships, 71 wins, 48 poles, and 127 podiums. That puts him level with Alain Prost and Sebastian Vettel. Behind only Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher's 7 titles and Juan Manuel Fangio's 5. But 2025 revealed something statistics can't measure: what a champion looks like when the machinery fails him. So what does losing actually cost Max Verstappen? On paper? A 5th consecutive championship. A chance to match Fangio. Bragging rights over Norris. In reality? Nothing. Because while Lando Norris celebrated his first title deservedly, earned through speed and consistency, the paddock was asking a different question. What happens in 2026 when Red Bull gets the car right again? Max's 2025 performance sent a message to every driver on the grid: even with a broken weapon, he's still the most dangerous man in Formula One. The rivalries didn't soften either. The George Russell situation in Qatar 2024 escalated throughout 2025. Max said he lost all respect for Russell, calling him two-faced. Russell fired back, accusing Max of threatening behavior and bullying. At the end of season dinner, Russell literally moved his chair away from Max. Then in Spain 2025, things went nuclear. Max deliberately drove into Russell after being ordered to let him pass. Russell said things got out of line and he's not going to take it anymore. This wasn't just about racing anymore. This was personal. And while Max was battling Russell, fighting an uncompetitive car, and chasing an impossible championship comeback, one thing became crystal clear. The sport's most polarizing driver doesn't just refuse to lose gracefully, he refuses to accept losing at all. So where does this leave us heading into 2026? Scenario 1. Red Bull fixes the RB21's issues and Max returns to absolute dominance. 5, 6, 7 titles. The Hamilton-Schumacher tier becomes his reality. Norris's 2025 championship gets remembered as the anomaly the year the car failed, not the driver. Scenario 2. McLaren's momentum continues. Norris and Piastri keep Max at bay. The generational shift everyone's been predicting finally arrives. Max joins the list of champions who ruled their era but couldn't stop the next wave. Scenario 3. Max does something nobody expects. He proves 2025 wasn't his peak, it was his foundation. He evolves again, the way he did from aggressive teenager to calculated champion. And the sport realizes they're not watching the end of his story. They're watching the middle chapter. Jackie Stewart called Verstappen the fastest in F1 but said he's still in the puppy stage of his career. 4 world championships. 71 wins. And supposedly still learning. So here's what I need you to answer. Is Max Verstappen's 2025 season a cautionary tale about the limits of talent when machinery fails? Or is it the most important season of his career, the one that proved he's not just a champion of the Red Bull era, but a champion for the ages? Because one thing's certain heading into 2026, the most polarizing driver in Formula One just spent an entire season fighting with a broken sword. And he nearly won anyway. If you made it this far, you already know championships are won on Sundays. But legacies? Those are built in the fights you almost lose. So tell me, is Max Verstappen's story about dominance, or is it about something even more dangerous, the refusal to accept anything less than perfection, even when perfection is impossible?